I always do that. Hello, good evening, and welcome. Who lives in a house like this? A sovereign man, David. A big hello to all the scribers this day, the 10th of February, year of our Lord 2019. We have a 90-minute, I don't know what we're going to call this, exploration, I'd say, of our language, words, implied meanings, definitions. So we've arranged for you tonight. Well, I have with Josh here, brother Josh, the X man himself. So what we're going to do is introduce him and why he's here, what we're doing, where we're going, where we've been, and then I'll let him, let you hear from himself with regards to. I don't know if you've seen him about on maybe on some Sun and Moons with a brother called Martin. So just to say that what the work that we do is quite deep. It's quite. I'm just going to turn my camera off a minute, all right, for my bandwidth. The the work we do is quite deep. It's quite strange the places that we end up and how we end up there. We ended up in some strange places. When I say that, the words, the legalese, when I encountered it, I asked my mum, who was at the Derby University in the law department, about legalese and the books and the dictionaries and the judicial setup. And as I just found it very strange. I thought, well, if you go to court, yeah, I understand there are words there that they will use that is important that you know what they mean, but a whole different language, set of books, dictionaries, in fact, a complete society. And I'm like, well, what do we speak then? And she's like, well, we speak English and they speak legalese, and legalese is the language of the law. And I'm like, okay, then that makes sense then because law has its own language. Yes, it does. Yes. And I'm like, so, okay, that's fine. And we delved into it. And, to some extent, I wish I never did, but we did. And we looked at the language of the courtroom, the language of the law itself. When I say law, now that's the thing, it's public and it's code. So before YouTube and everybody subscribers in the future watching this back, when I say law, legalese, I mean the Law Society, yes, and that's the Temple BAR and the subsequent parties therein down in the in this realm of law, the public statutory code, West Mini Star. So the West Mini Star is purporting to give this statutory acts are in the public. As I found out, this is what I mean when I say it goes deep, and then you go deeds, executor, executive, yeah, executor, death, words, AEX words. The X man's here tonight. Yeah, the X. I want to make a point of that. Words with X's and X marks the spots, a form of signature. Putting an X there denotes something. And yeah, very, very crucial. Crucial, the words, the language. I was just saying to Josh where we're going to go tonight, and I don't mind repeating a little bit, but yeah, it's just we need help, okay? Because I have a brain that will tie in numbers, letters, to some extent, gematria, Babylonian, Syrian, cuneiform, hieroglyph, and we need to find all others that have got the similar interest, experience, knowledge, capability. And when I heard of Josh and I initially met him, I didn't get enough chance to immerse and to Vulcan mind meld, to sovereign mind meld, if you like, and indigo to indigo kind of connection. So yeah, I was very impressed with his energy and his controlled delivery of information. It's explained well and it's articulate and there's references to and from, and it's quite varied and wide, and it takes someone with a like mind to actually be able to go in there and then have a test, if you like, which I did when I'd gone down and met him, because he come out with some quite let me say, what are they? He come out with some quite unique, intelligent, articulate, and big ideas about not just the self-governing, but the self-managing, the the self-governing and self-sufficient with regards to honor, privacy, and going forward with a plan. So when I saw that he could tackle the concepts of which we were at already and add to it, I thought this is a man I'd like to meet. So without further ado, Josh, the X-Man himself, as I've put you down just for a little play on words. Would you like to say hello to the scribers and continue on, please, brother? Thank
Yes,
you.
no problem. Thank you for that, Dave. Good evening, everyone. It's great to touch base with your channel and have some time with your subscribers. Nice to meet you all. Yeah, I'd say I've been a master syncretist, trying to get my knowledge as vast and as varied as possible through all walks of life. For approximately like 15 years now, I'm turning 32, and so since I've been about 17 years old, I've been learning or trying to connect dots for possibly 5 6 hours a day. So if you add that up, 365 days a year, um, I've done my time. And I'd say in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, I've not really done any sort of research at all. Um, Everything that I've done is connecting dots, and it's grown within. I managed to move myself away and disconnect from the matrix around about 3 years ago. Move myself to another country, Spain. Plant all my own organic trees, vegetables, grow my own fruit, eat of the ground, make my own soil, my own mix, which has actually turned out to be the most incredible, never seen replicated anywhere else. And this allowed me to connect with the ether, let's say, with the mother energy that's around us, which is all knowing. And then from that, within come new type of etymology that I've never seen or seen recreate. I haven't mastered this so vast, as in turning letters to symbols, and then the symbols to numbers. Our language has been written forwards, backwards, intertwined. Yeah, and then the root language is basically turned letters into symbols. So I'll share a bit with you guys tonight. I don't want to overwhelm you because there's something that might not be picked up on if I. But what we'll do is we'll go into some language with law, some world language with Egyptians, Hebrews, Latins. As in English is a master language of all of the language put into one. This is why it's so exciting, and truth within the nature of our experience. So yeah, let's get into a nice chat, see where it goes, and see where it flows, shall we? So I'll start with a few words that we'll speak about law. Law in itself, reversed, is a wall, and we can get lost, take from the world what we know that is right and wrong, leave the wrongs behind, and focus on the right. We find a lot of truth seekers find themselves trapped into the negative side of the information, and it's time that the negative side alone, focus on the positive and make actions happen by acting our ions. Ions in words represents the electric energy in us. There's a positive, negative, or neutral ion exchange, and that is it in this universe. Everything is magnetism. Uh, this is the secret to the universe. But what we won't do is, you can't say that in seconds. So I'll speak to you about a few, might spark a few minds. So we'll start on maritime admiralty law, and then we'll just allow it to go from there. So, for instance, we have dealings daily with possibly police officers, and an off-icer is an off-icer. And the only reason that police get involved with us is when we're off the ice in the waters of the maritime admiralty law. You'll have a constable or a constable, which is somebody who's trained to have a stable con. The con word in our language is obviously a deception word. So anything with con in front of it is not for us, it's against us. Anything with the pro in front of it is for us, and not against us. I'm sorry, at the moment I haven't got the ability to shine a light on me and start writing these words down, which would be so much better for the viewers to see. But I'll make sure soon I'm in a position to be able to express this if people catch wind and like this. So we have properties in our maritime system. And if you look at the wording, break it down into two words, because most of the time our words actually have three or two words interchangeable within them to create a new word. So properties is a proper tie. And anything tied to us is an attachment and attaches to our mind, which dissolves our spirit and keeps us in the matter, in the physical world. The physical world is a representation of the phi cycle. The physical is the phi cycle. If you're not aware of what phi is, it's number 5. That's why 5 is 5. And it's the Fibonacci sequence, the design in nature, the design in life, the creation. I'll roll with these words a second, because creation comes from the word creator. Create is obviously to create, but in the word create, you'll see Ria, which is area, and the Tor is the Taurus, or the creator of Tauruses. So the creator creates this phi cycle, which is the force of everything in this universe, which would be the mother, or the void, which is at the center of any magnet. A little bit off topic there, but so when you drive past a house, for example, and it says for sale, look at it next time and smile, because you can't sail a house, but because we're under maritime admiralty law, the phonetics there are saying that this is a ship, and you're able to sail it away. And then we can go to a word, for example, as in 8, and 8 is a full complete sine wave, which is the Mobius loop, which creates light and life. So sold is the sine wave is old, and this will start branching out now, and we'll start seeing that these letters creates signs and symbols. So the S is the sine wave, and the sine wave is old, so it's no longer being it was attached to before. So this is S old. Now it's sold. The houses are for sale, so they're ready to go off and sail when you want to jump in them. If we, for example, talk about the road is built with cement. Cement is cement, which is sea mind. So we've actually got the mind of the sea when we're driving around on these grey roads that look like rivers. If you put a D in front of a river, which spells driver, you'll realize that D is the 4th letter in the alphabet, and 4 is form. So it's the form of the river. Another word I'll chuck in, we could say maybe some Egyptian now. So the Egyptian sun god is Ra. If you're not aware of this, just have a little look into it. So we would have a rainbow, for example. If you break the word down into 3, you'll see Ra, you'll see in, and you'll see a bow. So
You're going, Josh. Your signal's gone. If you broke up Ra, we got Ra in bow.
So the rainbow is Ra. Ra is the sun. The sun gives us 7 incandescent colors of light, which is our aura. So our aura is AU, which is the alchemical sign for gold, and Ra is the sun. So you'll see how all these things will begin to connect. Language as well. You know when you hear the clan, Dave?
Yeah.
The clan. So language is actually lan, which means and translates to monster. I won't go in how, but we can find these things out if we go deep. And gauge. Language is the monster gauge. Okay, so we're actually born monsters. Human being legally defined is a monster.
Black's Law Dictionary, yeah, we go to Black's Law for those definitions, implied meanings for the legal realm, yeah. Go on, yeah, carry on.
Right, so we're monsters, and that could go down to a moon star, but we'll go into that later on. And then we resemble the family name as a clan, don't we, Dave?
Yes, we do.
So if we break down the word clan, you'll see C, which is either C as in SEE or SEA, or C as in the 3rd letter in the alphabet, which represents the Trinity. So it would translate in the phonetically sounding way of sea and then monster. So they tell you the clan, which means you're the clan of the sea monsters. So again, law will always take us to the same route of being a monster. So we must be very, very careful of the language that we speak. and create bondage contracts with these verbal words.
Well, yeah, but can I just? I'm going to forget otherwise. You've said quite a bit there that I want to touch upon. Where you've said sale,
Go.
house sale. We have another way of saying like a successful entrepreneur then struggling to do business on the seas of commerce would be classified as their business would be going under, their ship would be going under, they're struggling to stay afloat. They would maybe think about liquidizing their assets, or maybe they may have a liquidizing sale. They may have look at their assets, consolidation of assets and management of business. They would have a sale, yeah. So the ships have sales. You mentioned upon that. Sales, aisles and sales, boats and courtrooms. You know, have aisles, and I've compared courtrooms and churches, and churches and courtrooms before, and then commercial intercourse is what they call it now in admiralty. And frozen, your assets can be frozen. Your frozen assets pending liquidation and so forth. So money, liquid assets as well, liquidity within the market, and cash flow. It goes on forever. Banks, you touched on banks, and banks controlling the water. They control the water as it flows and ebbs to the sea. So the current is controlled by the banks with the flow. We go to the banks for the money as a debtor, albeit. But yeah, I'm impressed. I like the way that you're already elevated to where we are with the constructive and many and various different. So for some, we say this for all the scribers, that each word that they scribe must be chosen. In each word is in particular. If it's not needed, it's not used. And when we use a word, we need to know where it's from and what implied meaning, definition, language, and if it's for us to use, or if it's for somebody else to use or not to use. So these words are like swords, are they not? So I've gone to Phoenicia with this kind of etymology and the Jesuits and the European history. It's we won't cover it all tonight. You're quite right. And Josh and I have said previous that maybe we'll hook up in mano a mano in Personam and get a whiteboard and some pens and draw some patterns and shapes and symbols, brother?
Yeah. So you touched on the liquid asset. So from there, we'll bring up water. So we have bankruptcy, which is a bank that's rupt. Yeah. So if we go into the word bank itself, you'll see B, which is the second letter in the alphabet, and then you see Ankh. So we know what an Ankh is. An Ankh is the first part of the anchor, and the Ankh is the Egyptian staff. You know that?
Oh yes, we know about there's three of that, the Ankh and the staff and the three parts of it. Yeah. Go on, brother. Yeah.
The B represents the two-way, the positive and the negative, and the Ankh is the holding. So the bank holds the flow of the currency, which is either positive, negative, or neutral. Then you'll have something like, for example, if you cannot afford to buy something, this is obviously commercial use again. So a ford, if you look at the water in a river, if you hit a ford, you can't go any further, can you?
A ford, yes, that's right. It's a ford, yeah. Oxford, there we go. Ox and ford in Anglo landmass is an ox, meaning a bull, bison, and ford. So it's Oxford or Oxford crossing. And you do get warnings on roads of fords as well. So the town where the university, should I say, the township. There we go, ship. All towns are ships, by the way. Yes, there's a township near you, and your citizenship in that township of Oxford is there you go. Yeah, Boz, yeah, brilliant, fantastic, proper bow.
They're always connected. So I can't remember what I was saying from then, but we can go into more water with the police or the police or the policy. You'll see if you manage to say go to court and then you break that word down into three, it's co dash your dash T, and T will always represent your physical or a physical in language. Like Dave said, we'll get to a whiteboard so we can draw this up and it will make sense. I promise you that. It might not now. So you're coing your T. So a court, you will always join your physical with another or another entity. So you're joining yourself with another physical. You're coing your physical, coing your T. So you're going to court, and to get justice, which is just ice, because you're no longer in the water, You're allowed to step onto the ice, so you get away with the charges that have been pressed against you. Um, I can hear a bit of reverberation.
Can you? I took headphones
Yeah.
out just so I can get a drink. Yeah,
Sorry, mate.
yeah.
So
Is
there's
that
also something very important about the language that we're going to present as well. It's forwards, it's backwards, it's intertwined, and it's a very complex type of language. If you can sort of try to study reverse speech, there's a guy named Professor David Oates, and he goes into it very, very deep, and he's been trying for many, many years, maybe 20, 25 years, but it's not really caught on to many people. It is the language of the subconscious. And the subconscious world is the all-knowing world, which is connected etherically to the spirit. Okay, and the spirit is basically the spiral of the Fibonacci sequence, which is the creation of the creator or the creators. So if we touch on language, I'm just going to keep rolling because ideas come in my head. We've got the Holy Bible. So the Holy Bible represents a whole or a whole, which would the feminine void at the center, which is the dielectric field in magnetism. And then we have the bi, which represents two, and the bull at the end, which is the bulls, the holy two bulls, which would be the sun, the moon, and the void, which would then create the Trinity.
yes. I've
But
looked at the bulls. Yeah, go on, carry on.
and if you look at the word bull itself, you'll see he and all, and even bull will be he and yule. So you'll see that we're actually bulls, but we're not bulls, we're Tauruses. And this is where the tricks happen with the mainstream telling everybody that we live on a globe or um, things are happening in atomic energy, etc. Everything is atom, but atom backwards is mata. And mata means mother in Sanskrit. So an atom is basically the mother. If we study the mother, we'll see the flower of life. So the flower of life is a magnet viewed on a ferrocell. So this ferrocell will view the energy patterns from a magnet, which is everything in this universe. It's the positive and negative energy clashing, creating a dielectric field and a plane of inertia. So we live on a planet. And if you put plane dash T, you'll see it's a physical plane. So we're existing upon a physical plane, and everything is energy here. It's all ionic.
Yeah, this is the esoteric teachings. There are many realms. Sorry to interrupt, brother, but for those that aren't flowing, it's because there are scholarship, academic ways of viewing and looking and cognizing, and then there are those of us that have somewhat of an open mind and use our due diligence and discovery and do read, books and compare weird things, numbers and translations and different dictionaries. And when we come across these similar ancient artifacts of various continents that come across the same. It's only when we open our minds and see that there clearly was in the past histories spanning thousands of years. Going back, I can't go back further than Sumer and all these clay tablets and the references and the gods and the Anunnaki there. But yeah, there are lots of traces of this throughout the realm, and we look at it with an esoteric, but this is because the mainstream, as Josh, you can back me up here. If the scholars, the scholarship, okay, with the ships and the admiralty again, but the scholarship that they get will not allow them to speak about areas that are not allowed. If it's not on the list and they speak about it, then their career is over, and they get it's controlled all the way, isn't it? So we have learned about the things that aren't in the mainstream that we can speak about irrefutably and somewhat even, Josh, you've probably even put some of these esoteric, quantum type, did divine conscious matrixness into reality, into practice, and seen your reality change. It's yeah, it's massive, really, isn't it? So it's not so much babble that we're speaking here. There's a control of the information, and we've looked elsewhere. Quite many of these scribers have too, and they don't need convincing. But what I'm saying is the way that you portray these is eloquent to say the least. But you've done your homework, and those that have got the eyes can already see. But
Yeah.
it's very deep. It is really where you've gone, and the cognizance of the ways and the shapes and the power and the energy and the you know the formulation of the environment as we see it, Einstein and so forth. These mainstream again, ones that have depicted reality as an illusion, and E equals mc squared, and Newton and Faraday. We found Tesla, and we found subsequent technologies, and we found quantum vortex mathematics, atom. Yeah, Santos was saying all is atom, alpha and omega. I've got the way of putting the alphabet on your left and right hand. If you hold up both of your hands in front of your face, on your left hand, the thumb would be A, and then the finger next to your left hand and the other four fingers, you see there's three nodes on each of your finger. Each finger has three sections. You use the thumb on your left hand for A, and then that second finger in next to the thumb would be B, C, and D. The finger next
Yeah.
to it would be E, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, and M, all the way to the little finger on your left hand ending on my key. Then you go to your right hand, your little finger there is going to start with November, because you're left with the my key on the third digit of your other hand. November, October, Papa, P, and then Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and the thumb on your right hand is Z. And then you have Alpha on the left thumb, and on your right thumb, Z, the Zulu. And you've got the Alpha and the Omega, and the way that they used to count as well with the mathematics. This is what I'm saying when you go down places that you don't know you're going to go down, is the base 10 mathematics system of the 60 and the 12 with the counting again, which brings in to the law side. Get this, guys, look at this for random tedious link. The CQV 1666 is not only just a year with the three sixes in, but 1.6616, yeah, 1.666 is also the ratio of the human autonomy. Don't quote me on this, but I think I found out that the 1.666 is like where you see the 1.3 ratio and the 1.6. It's got something to do with the human physiology, as far as the maybe atomically linked, or
You got
autonomy linked. Yeah, yeah. And I was like, look at that. It just shows you it's random at that. But these things, these words and these sounds aren't done by accident. Let me tell you, there is a big, crazy plan with all of it to control.
Powerful.
Yeah, it's and for where you said about that, what was that machine called? Where you was on about words are language is. There's a machine that can monitor like the cymatics of our voices and sounds.
Yeah.
On
So
YouTube.
literally,
Yeah, go on.
the
Over to you.
divine matrix, aren't we? And this matrix is the mother's tricks. You'll see an MA together represents the mother. Okay. So you'll see magnetic, and it's the mother, G, net, I, C. So the magnetism or the magnetic is actually the net of the mother. And net backwards is 10. So you get the complete cycle of 1 to 9 vortex mathematics, and then the 10 goes back to 1, which creates the new cycle. Um, I'll go into slightly. I don't know if this might be losing a couple of people because it might not be connecting any dots. If we go into sort of phonetics and then um, move on, like you'll see something. I know this is a bit random, but say pasteurized food that is pasteurized has been heat treated so it can survive. For example, milk, etc. It kills all the nutrients within, and it has a longer shelf life. But if you phonetically break it down, it's past your eyes. So if something's past your eyes, you really shouldn't be eating it. And the word, say, emergency, emerge and see. So when there's an emergency, we need to emerge and see what's going on. And we have alarm, which is all arm. So I'm guessing that the word alarm initially come around when it was to do with wartime, and everybody would need to be all armed when a bell rang. Um, Another thing that might help people break down the language again is, for example, Congress. Okay, so we have a Congress, um, and we have progress, and we have regress, and we have aggressive. So if we have congress and a progress, we know that progress is for us and congress must be against us. So pro means for, and then we have gress, which is grace or the amazing grace. But we break down the word gress, we have G, which is the seventh letter in the alphabet. Or if you go around the alphabet once and come to G again, it's actually the 33rd letter in the alphabet. R, E, represents rightfully establishing or bringing together. Then you have the two S's, which is the two sine waves or the two kundalinis that need to be joined up. So progress is moving towards joining your sine waves to become wholeness or to become God again. And this is about kundalini, Vedic scripture, etc. But we won't go into this right now. So progress is obviously taking you towards the place where you join your sine waves together to create your own world and create your own life. And congress is there to stop that. The word tells you itself. And to regress is to rightfully establish aggress again to bring that forward. And this is why we have regressions from past lives, because it's trying to bring this forward. Did that make any sort of sense, mate? Is that quite simple to understand?
Yeah, I'm all about that. That's I'm just checking the chat room. I haven't said hello to everyone. It's 5:49 viewing, so I'm just saying we're busy and thank you. Or
Anywhere seeding is
um,
for seeding.
You touched on American, right? America has right capitals. Go here, Josh. Let me lead you a little bit. You started with the American Congress progress. I like that. So, Capitol Hill has Vatican on the Vatican capital, the capital, the nations obelisks. You know, it does worry me the way that they've got the Senate and the Congress. To be a senator and what the Senate does reminds me of the Empire, the Empire, Star Wars, Jedi, Alliance, Rebellion. Oh, my camera's gone a bit weird. Hang on. And then, yeah, you've just said about the certain things in that my brain was saying, what about these? So now, yeah, I'd like to forward link on with the capital. We have a capital. Everyone has a capital city. We are going to put a cap on the city, capacity, capacitor, electricity. Off you go if you can with anything on there while I just check the
so
chat room.
capital can mean many things. Every word has so many different meanings to it, but I'll bring a new spin. So cap means to cover, yeah? The I is number 9 in the alphabet, which represents the subconscious world or the feminine or God, okay? T represents physical, and we know all is all. So if we cap the subconscious physical in all, then we have no self-expression. So this is why we need to move away from the capital ourselves to become aware and creation or creators. We know that government is mind, and we're all probably very aware that our mind in Latin is ment. So if we look at the word government, we are governed in our mental through illusory means. Parliament tends to par lies to our ment, which is powering off lies to our mind. So the words in phonetics will always have it for us. The words can be broken down many ways. This is probably a better way for people to start seeing things in the language. And yeah, we're all on these continents, and these continents here, we know what a tenant is, don't we, Dave?
Well, we do,
and
yeah.
If we're tenants, we've been conned in the place we're actually existing in, and it's a part of our journey. Become aware, self-aware, see the matrix for what it is, be virtuous in every action, and find our way out of this game. Yeah. I want to just touch on the virtues quickly, Dave. Is that all right?
Yeah, you've got some fans in the house as well. The Golden Ratio Girl, I want to say hello. And you've got something about some American gardener or something. I've lost the name now, but American cannabis company. Josh is the best. Thank you. And just thought I'd read you that out. Carry on.
I forgot where I was going, but welcome everybody, and I will welcome you by saying well, me. Joining me is me, and well, come and join me. Welcome, me. We all know that we're all stuck in this time. Time broken down into two words is tie me. We don't want to be tied down to anything, and time is time. Clock is the same thing. It will say the same word in expression. See, lock. The Trinity is the third letter in the alphabet, which represents C, and sight, and C outside of C, but C lock. So you're locked within the Trinity. And then we have a watch that we wear on our hand that we just keep watching. So we're permanently tied down to this time. We are all stars in this world, and the language that I've sort of brought overstand it and I move on with this. But the S represents the sine wave, the T represents the physical, and you are the physical sine wave from the star, and that star is your projection down here from Earth. Okay. Let's stage. Do we want to focus on a bit of law wordage, mate? Or?
No, carry on. This is just general. We got SPO's Pro for law. This is just a general whatever, wherever it is. It goes there for a reason. So carry on, brother. Yeah, it's all good. Go. Yeah.
Cool. So we've got this massive industry going on right now, which is the word broken down industry phonetically. So phonetically is for the definitions, or the definitions, which are for the deaf Phoenicians. And industry is in the dust of the tree. And if people aren't aware, we're actually existing upon a big physical tree. This is the earth, the field, and the ground. Obviously, electricity will inform us that you need a ground, you need electricity. So we've been given language to sort of see these things around us. And if we just look around at the trees at the moment with no leaves on them, and leaves are called leaves because they leave the tree, we'll look up and see trees are basically just lightning in a physical form, as above, so below. And the bark is 2, B is 2, arc is electrical. So we know there's an electrical thing, a two-way electrical relationship with trees. And the tree huggers didn't have such a bad idea, because what we're doing is we're discharging our trees by earthing ourselves. And we should be doing this daily to release the ion. Unfortunately, we've had trainers, which are physical rainers, T-rainers, keeping us reined in and unattached to the ground, that we will need to be expressing ourselves with to relieve stress and have full ion exchange with the earth. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent here, but is this okay? I'm welcoming Dave, so I keep too much.
Yeah, it's linking into the to the realm of where we are. It's the phonics and the realm there. You're right. Okay, then I'll bring it back into a little bit of law. I was thinking as you were speaking, charging, discharging, cell, yes, capacity. We've just done a document, a publication, status, standing, and capacity, capacity. That knows like, and charges. We need to discharge the charges because we're all bankrupt. There is no monai, and these archons with their monarchs and anarchy, arcs, monarch, ark of the covenant, contract, charges, discharges, help me, these bow people, and the electric speak. It's proper. It's just every, the golden arches of McDonald's. Not that I would ever advertise that place, but that golden M is a golden M depicting the golden arches for a very good reason. The monopoly of that fast food franchise. Boom! Come on, let's go, Jay. Off we go again.
So poly means many. Mon is a representation of the moon. We are classed as monsters, which were basically moon stars. The moon is, I don't know if I can go in this deep, but the moon is a projection from our central sun. The moon is very mysterious and deep, and it's all to do with the spirit. At 3 a.m., the witching hour, the moon gives off the highest melatonin, which induces deep meditation and deep thoughts. I don't know if many people get their best ideas at night. This is because the moon is out, and Moony is the moon's eye. And if we have our eye on the moon, we're going to be finding a lot of occult information, a lot of secrets, and a lot of things connecting to our higher self.
Honeymoon. I tried to say honeymoon.
The moon, the monarch, is the
Honeymoon.
moon's arc,
Yeah.
and the electrical wave from the moon. And this is why it's so deceptive and secretive, because only the righteous will find this information out. So the righteous is the right choice. And if we are virtuous in every action that we take, action is acting our ions, and our ions are the only thing that we have is energy. And energy is our inner G. So if we put our actions together, virtuous in every situation, we will manifest the reality that we want.
Yeah.
And the
And
matrix
these words are designed so we manifest. Sorry, but these words are designed so we have a cursive language, do we not, fam? Is it not a cursive way that we come on then?
We do. We have cursive words. We have rights, which is writing, but the rights are our right side, which is right, and the right side of our brain is the spirit side of our brain. So you hear about, maybe you've heard about things like traveling in the east, or beginning in the east. This is very occult, and we are in the beast system. Well, if you break down beast to be east, you'll see that we need to be east, which is moving the junk from the left brain, which is the matter, over to the right brain, which is our spirit. Unfortunately, we've been given this reality, which is a program reality. So we're set in this reality, which is a scripture. The scripture is the script you are. So you're on a script, but you have free will. And will is the law of the universe. Will, backwards, law. Will are the only energies in this universe that we need to be focusing on right now. Occultism, you'll find out the love and the will. Possibly Aleister Crowley. He's a very, very intelligent, loving man. The Matrix has put a block on the information by making it bastardized and fearful for the normal public. So it's a good thing, because if normal, let's say, unvirtuous people got their hands on the true nature of the being, things might not be right. But fortunately, the Matrix is set and has many block walls or programs put in place that will only be revealed when the man is virtuous enough to reveal or have the information accepted within his being.
Spell casting, casting spells. We cast from a mold, moldings, casting spells. This is going into that realm. Then we cursive language, cursive text, keyboard will have a cursor flashing. You have a cursive input, and we cast spells. We have a dictionary. And we look at the words and we will check the spelling of those words. What got me, play on words, waking up in the morning and feeling weekdays, having a week, being in during the weekdays, week as in dazed, as in dizzy, weekdays, making it to the weekend, getting to the end of the week, having a funeral and going to a wake and mourning at the wake. Are you having a laugh? Are you for real? Are you tripping? Or is this, no, this is the language of which you have you have installed in your British Empire, your colonial Babylon bullshit is what, sorry, but that Babylon bullshit is what it
and
actually
they've got everybody,
is. Let me tell
everybody's
you.
walking in a weekdays because of busyness, not business, it's busyness. And there is not, well, the only thing productive in this world right now is producing food.
Yeah.
Anything else is busyness. Right? If we got shelter, food, or family, we are okay. Everything else, they've got the minds of minions going around in a weekdays, and they're so weakened by the weekend they get a day off.
It's horrible.
And this
and the Sabbath. I celebrate the Sabbath on a Saturday. Everybody, I don't expect you to change what you do, but to me, the first day of the week is the Sunday, from what my research is telling me, and the seventh day is a Saturday, the Saturn day. Josh, anything to add on that? You want to expand on that while we're around these parts?
Been the first son to be birthed out of this mother, and we can't go too deep into how the Earth is, but there's 7 planets. There's a central sun. There's this Earth's sun and moon. There's the Mars and Venus, and there's Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn would have been the first one. The Earth grows like a tree. It's constantly spiraling. If you are horrible enough to cut a tree down and you're always on the tree, that represents our Earth. A tree will petrify and turn into stone. Hence, the mountains around us are actually giant ancient trees that have petrified and turned into stone, and the rest of the earth is a tree that's been moist and turned into soil. I explained just by having time off busyness, to be honest. And unfortunately, we're so busy in busyness that we haven't had time to think yet. So,
This
me and
got to
Dave
stop.
have,
Yeah, it's got to stop.
yeah,
Go on.
this all has to stop. If people are starting to resonate and feel the shitness, we know that red shift, blue shift is magnetism. Well, if you're tied to the red, which is tired, it's about time to move over to the spirit and let's get some blue inside of us. Work itself is war with the K. WOR, as in worship, is warship.
Yeah.
So work is war with the K. The K is the 11th letter in the alphabet. 11 is the twin pillars. L even. What we need to do is balance our twin pillars. We need to destroy them, as 9/11 did, and with our own gnosis, because we've been programmed, which pro is for, G is the God, RAM. We know that RAM is memory on a computer, but we have the RAM's head in our brain. This is the holy RAM. This is the program. And what they can do is insert little programs into our computer, which is our brain.
The Pro G RAM. What? Oh, yes. Sorry.
So they've inserted these programs into our brain, which basically, until we can become self-aware, they act autonomously. I could break down every word I'm saying, Dave, but I'm not going to because I think it'll create confusion.
I just wanted to get that in there. I know, but you touched on that before, the Pro G RAM and the programming.
The brain is the B Ra in. Again, we have the two suns within us. B Ra in is your brain. We have two suns within us, positive and negative. And the neutral is the new T role, the new physical role. Every single second of every single day, we have 10 million cells produced. If we are conscious of these cells that are being brought forth within our body, we can create new things within our body.
Brother, I want to touch on something else because you're leading me in many places, and my brain is like, my inner voices are screaming. I'm being so good. Believe me, I know I'm being rude, but I am being quieter than. But talking with a few others and research and what Smith has come out with of late, biblical things, Sarah and Abraham in the biblical name, abracadabra, baratory, BAR, London Temple BAR in particular, magistrates, magicians, Phoenicians, phonics, but brain. You was on brain then, back on track. Celebrahum, Sarah and Abraham.
Yeah.
Abraham, and then in the Arabic term, you've got the names similar to, comparable, Thoth, Hermes Trismegistus, Hegelian dialect, of all areas I never knew about until 9 months ago. This isn't me, but going back to the scriptures and the phonics and the magic, and it's just incredible, brother. And the Celebrahum is Sarah and Abraham, and the Abra AB words wary of now, you see, for me, and the way that you pick up on stuff and that they do present themselves and further continue to present themselves. But these books are like what would I say? Manuscripts of code within code. Da Vinci there is looking like a Teletubby compared to how it is, and the words are formulated in a way of which therapist, the rapist, until you have it pointed out, you don't see the rapist, you see therapist. I yield, brother.
The solicitor, mate. If you were going to solicit a child, what's this, mate? Do you know what I mean? Go and pay some people some money. Wordings will always sell us. You said manuscript then, mate, and it's the man you script. So it's telling you the word, you're on a script, mate. You said Abraham or Abraham. Is not, isn't it, mate? Aboriginally is not the originals.
Abracadabra. Abraham, abracadabra.
That's right. I create what I speak. Abracadabra means in I think it was Hebrew, I think. I do get confused sometimes with all of these language words. Also,
Yeah,
you said temple, mate. Temple, T is the physical, EM together in a word means electromagnetism. Pull phonetically, pull. So you have the temple is the physical electromagnetic pull. And we have two of these temples within our head. And this is what the Biblio says that the most important temple was built without any hands. So that is the one inside of our mind. Um, I was just looking at your respect hand on the video here, mate, and it says hero, yeah?
yeah,
To become a hero, we need to understand one thing where her O is. And her O is the void at the center of any magnet. So if I can express magnetism, magnetism, magnetism to everybody here, magnetism is the only law, it's the physical law that we're existing in right now, which is the phi cycle. And may I just move from the phi cycle to say the goal here on this realm or this experience or this part of our experience is soul growth is to defy the phi cycle. So DeFi means to take away phi or to become free from the cells in our body that have trapped us. Hence prison cells. We have trillions of cells inside, trillions of little phi cycles that are cells trapping us in a physical body while our astral self is enlightening this body
yeah.
and
Systems within systems. Mm.
systems within systems, mate. The solar
And you're taking
soul.
for those the 60 now viewing up to 60 early 60s here. I would like to just pause and say hello to the room and some names and pass on some messages, brother. And yeah, physical. What Josh is good at doing is like a bit what Wordsmith does there. We take the words and they say them in a different way. So he's just saying physical, but it's obviously the spelling Phy. This comes from Greek words, and I'm not going to go into that now. But my Mediterranean background and some of the family members that I've spoken to and extended family members, ones that aren't genetically linked to me, but they are late, down the line, extended family, we call them. I've explained the PHYs and the taco, the graph meanings and stuff, and the Greek, Latin, French mixed into this English babble here. And yeah, it's truly incredible. But to the chat room, I just want to say, yeah, let's see if there's any messages or what we've got. We've got a new scribe, a golden ratio girl. Yeah,
Hey,
brother. Yeah, don't know where came on 8:30. We are trapped in cells like Adam. Let's just say some names as well. Me, LX, magic and mysticism. Nonna. Let me just go for the names. Dodgy doctors. Hello there, brother. Um, look for messages and names there. Can you see the room, Josh? No.
I just switched on to another phone. Send my
Yeah.
love HELLEX. That is my partner, mate. She's listening.
All right. Yeah. Nice one. Good. Good. Thank you. Interfaith Vegan Alliance. Yeah. Yes. What a name. What a name.
So
Um.
someone's actually said about dodgy doctors here. Okay, so the doctor is a what would you call it? You doc a oh my mind's gone. You doctor a piece of paperwork, don't you?
You Doctor
So they're
Taurus.
messing
Doctor
something, you know.
Taurus. I always see it as Doctor
That
Doctorus. Wow.
it
Yeah.
is the
Doctor.
Taurus. That is right, mate. The C is the Trinity, and you do the Trinity Taurus. And then we go to these doctors to get a diagnosis. Well, phonetically in the English language, dia means bad, but in Greek it means through. But we are in England right now, so we go to get diagnosis. Gnosis. So if we went to these doctors to get bad knowledge and treatment, we're only treating our minds with bad knowledge.
Yeah.
For example, I think it's quite funny because we go to these doctors and get spoken words that we know nothing about. Many people in this realm are probably diabetic now because they are unaware how to eat. So if I told everybody who is diabetic to look up the etymology of dia, then betes, you'll see that it means through idiocy. So if you're getting diagnosed with diabetes, you've done this through being an idiot. And what we're doing is we have no idea how they've mastered these languages, and it's all there to become self-aware and have the
I'm
understanding of language.
thinking, I'm thinking zodiac as well, though. Zodiac, AC, zodiac as well, from the astro-theological connections
Yeah,
there. We have a
but the
zodiac,
die, it's usually
don't
the
we?
die, mate. The die represents God, the dielectric.
There you go. There we go. Go on, brother.
So yeah, zodiac. The Z represents tree. If you see the Z as a longitudinal, but basically A and Z, everything in between is irrelevant. Okay, A and Z, you got
Left
one
and right hand,
longitudinal
alpha and
and
omega.
one latitudinal wave. That's
Yeah,
right. A is a wave that goes across. Yeah, if you
yeah.
cancel out the middle and you keep doing A, you'll see a longitudinal wave. And then if you do the Z upwards, you'll see a latitudinal wave.
There you
So you got the
go.
longitudinal and the latitudinal wave, which is magnetism, and everything in between. It's all in between that. So everything in this world is from magnetism. Everything is the longitudinal and latitudinal wave, A to Z, the beginning, the end, the alpha, the omega,
Yes, brother.
spirit.
Amen to that. We got Dodgy Doctors. Meant also means is lying in French. Yes.
Lying.
So go on.
You say lying or lion?
Lying, lying.
Oh, cool.
We've got
Brilliant.
Sister Tina's in the house. I'm going to go through the room as well. Eye of Creator. Hello, brother. He's in the house. Die Breathing. Sid L. Karchi.
He put
Um,
Maya's tricks, yeah. Maya, actually, the Mayan calendar means the matrix calendar. So, has basically had an explanation of what the matrix was, is, and when the zodiac will change. Um, I've I and my lovely partner, we've been getting our heads in this, and there's a very easy and simple way to figure out how the zodiac works with time and its numerology. We will go into this another time, Dave. I won't go into it now, but it's very important. If people are looking to conquer this world, conquer themselves first, yeah, we have to understand astrology. It's very important. Astronomy is astronomy. So if we want to know ourselves, we really need to know astrology as we are stars. Um, but the movement needs to happen as is happening now, slow into this being, but yeah, it's going to be an exciting journey ahead, mate. A very exciting journey ahead.
Well,
Um,
it does begin with knowing yourself and knowing this is what we're saying. This journey that we are promoting is it's all very much an inward discovery journey of knowing yourself. If you've got anxiety, if you've got depression, if you've got financial problems, this is a one-trick pony. This actually is a one-trick pony because it employs all of the laws that are affecting you on an atomic and subatomic level. And this man here has got the full understanding and the capability of the health and the wealth and the science and the history and the zodiac. We, as indigos, light workers, and fellow scribers here on this channel, as I know I could test this room and I'll get the answers within 99.5% accuracy, Jay. So these guys that we've got scribing, the ones that are already following you from previous work, all we're going to hopefully do now is optimize our capabilities, our resources. I want to find out what kind of a resource pool we have for moving forward in a peaceful, non-aggressive way that will find remedies for most of life's problems. And if you employ what sounds at this moment in time foreign and abstract and what word did I use before now? Something like esoteric rather than academic and scholar like.
a
We
cult.
are we are under the dome. I live under the dome. I live in this body is where I live, and I'm under the dome, which is the skull, the cap. Yes, and you have a skull cap, and your skull cap. We said temper. What did I say? Something with pull in it. Temporal, spiritual,
The
temperament,
electromagnetic
pull.
pull, yeah.
And you went pull, magnet pull. We have a skull cap. Boats have what? Oars. You have an oar cap, a skull cap. You are ordered. We have order coming from boats and admiralty again, yeah. But think of the structure of a boat and the eyelets and the little holes that go through, and you put the boat oars through there, and you have it's very weird. It comes from Chiron last. Search YouTube. for the what is it? The web of power, the ring of power, the golden.
Someone said that to me as well.
Chiron last, the golden web. But these are all the ways that we see the realm, and once we break it down, we're able to help many in many and various ways. It's truly unique. But the planets operate. Okay, I'll explain it how now, but without being arrogant either, and quite humble. The phi that is on about and the physical and the vibration are all connected with the Fibonacci sequence and the solfeggio scale. And the solfeggio scale is something that was changed by the British Board of Musical Classification at the instruction of a German called Joseph Goebbels before the Second World War to alter the frequency of which music was played over the British airwaves to our ears.
440 hertz, mate.
There are institutions that are currently making weapons of silent destruction that we're not proud of, but there is nevertheless in this universal consciousness of atomic structure, the sonic frequencies and the mathematics will always be applied, and the plants that we eat are like a simple computer program for our body. So if we eat good things and simple things, that's like a simple computer program being assimilated in our body, and that what we eat, we will naturally become. And then if you start eating overly complicated computer programs like Big Macs or McDonald's, KFCs, Subways, all of the fast foods out there, or the complex sugars and proteins that they put into packeted food that you have to reheat through the freezer or instant microwave or microwave in itself, you're putting in complex computer programs to your body, and it takes your body a lot longer to digest them programs. And then the way which they are stored, transported, shipped, and frozen and heated is then killed all of the nutritional intake. So we go around in a week gauge all the time. It's very much related. So we're not arrogant in what we say. It's the science and the applied sciences of all of the laws around us. And when we got into law, I just thought we was getting into the law of books. And when we stumbled on the law of man and the law of the universe and the quantum and the magnetic and this subatomic and the actual, what did you say, synchronicity at the beginning? Let's talk synchronicity. We call it coincidence, Josh, now.
Yeah, we do. The coincidence, two things that seem quite similar.
No, the coincidence, when two things, all right then, yeah, the coincidence. So two things are co-exhibiting, inhabiting, coexisting. So two by yeah, similar vein of words and
joining.
And then, yeah, the coincidence, and we have these coincidences where, here's an example, fam, right? It's a Kung Fu master, when he trains martial arts students, wants to get to the level, right, where and let's pin that. Have you ever been walking down the street and bumped into somebody, and when you step left, they step left. When you step right, they step right. When you step left, they step left, right? You don't know that person. You've never seen that person in your life, ever. But you know what? You are now in tune with them, and you are perfectly mimicking each other. You've never met. Now, this Kung Fu master that's trained his student will go down the street one day, and he will on purposely do that scenario, yeah? And he will go in front of his student. And what they want to do is he wants that student not to mimic him, and he wants the student to outstep him and get past him. That's the art of the game. But because he's a Kung Fu master, he can tune into his students, just like that. So this art of synchronicity that we have, I know I've used a random bumping into a stranger, but I know most of our scribers and you yourself will have bumped into a stranger and played the steppy left and right game at least 3 times, and then on the 4th time, or one of you stops and goes, "Go on, mate, you just go, please. This is embarrassing. We're going to be here all day. We're going to be here all day, fam. I've never met you. I'm in tune with you, and I can't get out of tune. You see, so we're in tune with each other when we don't think about it. When we think about it and we overly try, we get out of this source connection, But there is something very, and I'm in with that now with these with some of our admins and you yourself and the numbers, and they have a language. The universe will speak to you, like they say, Mother Earth, Gaia has a language and a structure, and so
yeah.
The laws, they are laws. What I'm talking about is laws. They're not these coincidences. And then that leads me to say, is that because we are making these decisions, or is something guiding us? Do we have the ability?
We are, yeah, man, we are all connected. But the thing is, we've been eating food that's not of this earth, which has basically masked all of our electro signals within our our central nervous system that we can't connect with our astral self. Our astral self is the all-knowing entity. There's nothing new under the sun. We're just here as an experience to join our sine waves and become creators again. But if we don't understand evil and we can't act virtuously, we're here on a lesson, and we're supposed to see and understand that we have to be good and see the difference between good and evil. And this is why there's so much duality in this experience here, because once we understand that, then we have the virtue system, then we're capable to create. If we were creating without understanding good and evil, we'd create so much havoc. This is just a program for our soul growth right now, and we're experiencing it. And unfortunately, we've been trapped into Groundhog Day, and we're just reliving the same day every day and not moving forward. Remember what Bruce Lee said: water does not stay still, and if it does, it goes stagnant. Is that right? And we
Yeah.
don't want to be stagnant water. We are 75 to 80% water, and we do not, I repeat, do not want to be stagnant. We need to keep making these actions and moving forward. It is too easy to fall into a trap. The trap is a T wrap. The physical has been wrapped, and now you cannot move. You've been trapped. So if I could say healthy food to two words, it's heal thy. So we need to heal ourselves with healthy food. And the only food that serves purpose to man is food that is grown on this earth. And the food that we should be eating, our body, if I can quickly touch on it, our body only wants to absorb simple sugars. And this is a fact. But we do not want any process or processed foods. If you look at the wording, it's pro and cess. We all know what a cesspit is, and we all know what pro is. So pro is for, and cess is shit pit. So it's not good for you if you have anything that's processed. Um, so you should be eating is mainly fruit. Fruit itself spells for you it, and then fruit is made from amino acids, and amino acids is amino acid. Acid feeds candida or feeds single cell pathogens that cause expressions of illness in our body, cancers, and mucus. Basically, cancer is fungus. Fungus will be defeated with an alkaline body. The alkaline is the alk line within us, and we will only achieve alkalinity by the fruits of nature. When you go down to vegetables, they basically have been hybridized, and they contain starch, and starch is not the simplest form of sugar, and it does cause our body discomfort, and it can keep candida alive. Someone such as myself, I'm only on an like a magnetic diet, natural foods of God, no hybrids. And this is why my mind is capable, and I can absorb and connect with ether, astral project, etc. Um, because I took the necessary steps and become virtuous and took control of my own life and my own mind, which has allowed me to further my journey on this realm. So, as a bit of advice, which is adding vice, and the services is service, we need to concentrate on ourselves, um, and work to make sure that we are in control of ourselves. Because if someone's in control of you, they're conning your physical T role. So your physical role here is being conned and you're not in control. So a man will be a master when he climbs the mother's stairs, as in Jacob's ladder, the seven steps to heaven, which is the seven color Taurus map. It all goes down to Taurus, the Taurus, which is magnetism again. But by being virtuous, we will open up our inactive, dormant DNA, um, and we will be able to access thoughts of realms of thoughts, and dimensions that we've never ever thought existed before. There is so much capability to the man, but again, it's a capped ability, like you've been saying. Do you want to interject anything there, Dave?
Yeah, I want to just pay homage to the chat room. Big love to everybody. There's 62 viewers. We've got a lot of Phoenicians in the house. We are all
Yeah.
by definition of Phoenician. You touched on this earlier. I would do you well to have a look back. I'm just going to go back. Somebody, Dodgy Doctors, we are a urination, a urination nation. We've got the
You're in
spark.
a yeah.
You see, they're on it. They really are. The cogs are turning. The spark of the arc of El, Hebrew, Heb, man in encyclopedia, are EW from John. Wait, become subconscious. I'm not going to say the names, but the power of now, the all spark. No, hang
Right.
on, wait. L of electric is being said there. Stardust, electric, you shine, you operate with photosynthesis. Yeah, the plants, photo, light, um, vibration, diagnosis. Oh, where is it? Nonayoma says dia, and then gnosis, gnosis, dia, and then gnosis. That's what we're
Yes.
going back in the chat log. But
So we have the Bible, don't we, Dave, which is a testament,
oh,
and it is
testa, testy. Don't get me on these. Go on,
a
testament. Yeah, mind.
test
Wow.
for our mind, you know, and unless our mind is sharp, we are not going to be able to see what we need to see. So it's very, very important that we eat healthy, we think healthy thoughts. We try not to let our subconscious be filled with all these movies. They move the subconscious ether sine wave movies, and they are
Blockbusters,
celebrities.
blockbusters. They bust your blocks. Sorry,
Oh,
movies.
that's and you got celebrities, and Celi is the first part of celestial and bright. See, they're bright stars, celebrities. They're tied to the bright stars. And what they're doing is they're working with Hollywood. Hollywood was the first,
Don't
well, they used to use it.
Let's get a star on the concrete. A star if they do enough good work, don't they? Go on, yeah. Hollywood. Sorry,
That's
you was on Hollywood. Sorry, but so carry on.
right. Hollywood is the wood that was from the holly tree, which was used for magical spells back in the day. The witches had holly wood wands. And
Harry
yeah,
Potter.
so
Yeah.
yeah, magic is the mother GIC. And the miracles that we can produce is my Ra cool. So once we speak to the sun, knowing that the sun is all
Hello.
controls, you just need to see it on the water. And the light given to us by the sun is the seven incandescent colors of light, which creates this realm.
The spectrum,
We
the
can
light spectrum, the seven in the light spectrum when you get a prism and you split the rays of light. Yes, correct.
That's right, and that's why we pray, because we P represents mouth. So when we pray, we mouth the ray, and the ray comes from the sun, the Ra, and the Y represents choice, because you have, if you draw a Y, a capital Y, yeah, you'll see it's an I, which is number nine, or the subconscious world, down into the left or the right, which creates a choice. And this is why we ask why. And this is why the wise become wise, because they ask why. And this is why it's so important to know the phonetics and the way that we've been the way that we've all created this language together as a subconscious entity. We're all connected, we're all interconnected, and we haven't had this given to us. This is a part of us and our own experience in this soul growth. But yeah, it's an amazing journey that we all can have in this man or woman experience. We do not want to be trapped. Honestly, we can experience so much, and what me and Dave have been branching out and speaking about recently is trying to gather the like minds, like and real recognize real. So if you find beings that are resonating on your level, try not to go too far ahead, because everybody has their journey. But
Yeah.
it's best to connect with the people that are resonating with you and make your moves together as a unity or as a family, because strength is in numbers. And numbers do not lie. Pythagoras, mate.
No, they don't. They don't lie. It's truly amazing. I believe they've got a life and a mind of their own, and they operate. There's a thing called there's a number pattern that you can see videos on YouTube with. It looks like a black snowman. It's got a name. I forget the mathematical name, and you go in on it, and you can go in and go in and go in. But it's not a Mandela effect, but it's called the mandibular or something. A black
Mandabala, yes, man.
yeah, that one, and you keep going in on it. That's what we're doing here. We keep going in. We think we've gone in, but brother Shadow of a scriber here, Shadow wants to know if you could break down the word merchant for him or for the room. Do you see anything in the word merchant that you could break
There
down,
was,
please?
I tried to look at it in my head. It's easier if I write it down. So you have chant, which is chanting or speaking a resonance or a sound. Then you break the letters down. M letter in the alphabet, which represents the middle, which goes left or right, which is why you have the golden arches. So the middle would represent the mother. Mother is the M other. But yeah, the middle. E represents ether. R represents hour, right? And chant. R also represents so many other things to do with magnetism, duality, the eight, the whole, the one, the phallus. But we'll
Whoa,
say
whoa, whoa, but it's too fast for us. You're too fast for me, brother. Slow it down. See what I mean when I say man's fast, right? Shadow, I hear what you're saying, right? M is for mother, E is for ether, and R
E is the fifth
is for.
letter in the alphabet, okay? So E represents
Go again. Thank you.
E represents the quintessence or the fifth letter, which is the fifth element, which is fifth element is
Yeah.
element, the God's fifth mind, which is ether. So the E would represent ether on its own. Then you have R, which represents hour, phonetically, as in hour or R.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we could have the mother's ether is our chant, and that's a merchant. Or you would have the myrrh, which you might have to check in etymological dictionary to see what myrrh means in many different languages, because it's hidden so many different
Mermaid,
ways of.
mermaid, merchant. There's not many mer words I can think of actually. Merchant,
You
merchant,
murmur as well, don't you?
mermaid. Sorry,
You murmur. Frankincense, a merchant, mermaid. Yeah.
merchandise, and then
So, so the merchant would be somebody that is the mother's ethers.
merchant bankers. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, merchant.
The
It's something
banks
to do
of the
with.
sea. Mer means of the sea. Then I would hazard
Does
a
it?
guess. I would not
Yeah.
definitively
Oh,
say
of course, yeah.
boat, right? But here we go, brother. Come on. We can do this. We can do this. Carry on.
Mermaid
There
is a
we go.
maid of the sea. So it's
Sea.
the sea chant. The sea
Bosh,
chant.
bosh. There we go. That's the one I'm saying.
Boom.
That's what I'm saying. A merchant, chant of the
Big
sea.
respect to you.
The sea people are back again, fam. They're everywhere. There's a
So the
commonality.
merchants are only there because of maritime admiralty law. Of course they are. So it's a sea word.
Oh,
So
man,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
maritime
yeah. We
word.
got it. We got it.
Amazing. It's a maritime word.
Merchant, admiralty, maritime. Yes, this is the one.
It is the chant of the sea, my darling.
It seems it would be. We don't need books and we don't need the definitions. We just need to apply what we see and hear and our knowledge. This is what I mean when we say esoteric ways of looking at the abstract and the actual uses now as they are, not as they ought to be, should be, or perhaps have been. We can compare
Yes.
quite a lot, can't we? And it's about time that we realize that our core strength is this in itself. Where um,
Yeah.
whom is controlling one. Well, the easiest way to find out, fam, is find out who you can't speak about on tube and get you. And when your channel gets shut down, you know who's controlling you. But it's a big risk to take after building up a channel. See who you can't talk about. Oh, it was them. Look, we've finally been shut down. It was the Council of Foreign Relations. Sorry, no,
It was
or
the
whoever.
13 big heads.
Yeah, it's we have got in this realm we're not using lawful excuse here. We are operating as honourable brothers and family and saying this is what we've seen. What you see, and this is what it's all out there. It's not. We haven't gone in any secret clubs. We're not trying to sell you a product of which me and Josh have designed, or Josh and whoever, and he's bringing it to us and saying, "Hey, Dave, you've got subscribers. How about we?" No, it's all just food for thought, and he's seen how we act and what we are looking at proposing going forward. The .com going to America, employing. This is massive, in America with the language, Josh, and what now are you coming on the scene as well? We can go and look at the cross-continental, effects of, and this is going to be really good for American English versus Anglo Babel versus wow, yeah, whatever we can. I'm not saying I'm not volunteering you for anything, but we are seeing a heavy influx of stateside family at the minute, and they've got their like terminology with I can't do anything now like say what who and what, but they do in law and in life as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what may be on the horizons, because these are quite well-rounded spirits and souls, as well. They know quite much, not just one area. You find, like with yourself, probably tens of areas that you are quite, formidable in. We'll say formidable. I yield.
Yeah. So the myrrh is actually in America, isn't it? A myrrh. See the myrrh again? A myrrh.
Oh, you didn't. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Go on.
So these root words that I figured out, they're not necessarily available at all times. If the word's been created to do with maritime, it's going to be something completely different. This is why the legalese has been brought in. So you can see the immer, so that would be the sea. So you can have the Americar, as in a car, as in a carriage, because the car words only come from the carriage or the carrying. That's why you have Africa as a free car, and that's why it was able to be dominated. But America would be the ship car, the car of the ship. So it would have been one of the most important places to carry the ship, mate. The
Lemur.
true
Lynn, Sister Tina says lay, L-E, and M-E-R is French for the sea, for sea, sorry, S-E-A, lemur.
and obviously
Uh,
French is one of the original languages as well, the root languages. Swedish, French, and English, mate. So yeah, man, that's
And
good
if
to know.
everybody, I invite anybody around the plains this minute and in the future when you're watching this, when we're finished, to go and get your purse, wallet, receptacle for business transactions, and open it and find some random receipts. Get about three or four. Give me a chance, all right? I won't need that, but get three or four receipts out, line them out, flatten them out on your table, flatten them out, and then look with your mince pies and find me the merchant transaction. I don't want the number. It's not. I'm not trying to rob your monies, but find me for the just points of this video. On that receipt, everyone will have a merchant transaction number. So you have in the commercial intercourse realm, very much the merchants are operating with the manifests of the business that is happening. Because I had this earlier and I didn't say it, but out there is a citizenship, and it's going around and it's sailing around. And what happens is, out in the realm, a boat will dock with a female, not boat, but port, a slip, so we'll call it. When that male boat docks with a slip, the seamen go up the canal and they get out. And I'm trying to use euphemisms here for sex as well, for the reproductive area of man, but also tying it in with birth and boats and docking. So the male boat docks in the slip, the seamen get out, go up the canal. That then makes a manifestation of a product in the female, which then gives birth to that ship, whether it's boy or girl. It's a ship in their realm. Bear with me. That ship is then usually registered to get on the citizenship that's going around, sailing around. And it's this concept that baffled my mind for quite some time, and where you've touched upon the word doctor, and the product is delivered in a hospital ward. And I know from my research that hospitals were wards and wards of the military. So somebody somewhere has had an idea here, brother, and they've said, why don't we make a hospital where every woman that's now having a baby has to go? And when she goes there, we'll introduce the registration system. Once we've done that, we'll introduce the certificates and the bonds, and then we'll put a clearing bank in the center of the capital city, and we'll get these capital names. And this wasn't something that was thought up overnight by some drunken businessmen, and they thought, I know how we'll get rich quick. This is quite, well, now I've got into it and immersed myself into it. It's very, very clever and cunning of how the currency of the watermarked bonds, when you get the bonded certificate and you hold it up and it's got a watermark going through it, that denotes the currency of the money, of the monetary value in that. That's why bonds and banknotes and papers, intrinsic value is denoted by the currency rather than the actual metallic gold, silver object being made of. Dirty, mate, trading souls with birth certificates. The jig is up. We're in the age of Aquarius, and the water picture is pouring down on us, so to speak, now from all angles. So thank you for all that you're doing and all that you can bring to us to help us out. I'm aware it's near 10, and you said you wanted to wrap up about 10, bro. So yeah, over to
Oh, is
you.
it near 10?
Yeah, we've nearly done an hour already, or
Right.
an hour and
Well,
a
the
half.
Aquarius is bring
Again, you're
water is
breaking.
memory. If they're poor in the age of Aquarius, it's about time we connected with the memory, you know. And if we remember, if you're a member of something, you join something. So it's about remembering or rejoining with your higher self. So I think this brings down forth information of all the ages, and all we need to do is be virtuous enough, and clean and pure enough, righteous enough, leave all of the inform a physical ion to form within, as in the information within is something that can't be looked without. Somebody with a very vast amount of knowledge can't share it with anybody. It's about the growth here, and this is a part of this experience here again. So, you know, being clever is one thing, but being in control of your own temple, this is the most important thing. Um,
Entertainment, Josh. Entertainment. Somebody's put here.
enter the
Dodgy
tainted
doctors.
mind. Enter the taint, and you have the television to tell you lies through the sight. But yeah, you have entertainment, and taint is tainted, isn't it? And tainted meant is tainted minds. So you're entering a tainted mind when you have entertainment. It's all circus and bread, mate. Bread and circus. And we need to elude that, get together to get her. And together is spelt to get her for that purpose, and her being the mother's earth, or the mother's encompassing womb all around us. You know, the compass points one place, and that's north. And if you are sitting upon a ring magnet, then the south is all around us. The north is in the middle. The middle is telling us to come pass. And this is the mother's womb of creation. The creator, or the creator of Tauruses, the creator of the physical realm, which is here experience, man. So yeah, life is great. Life is about learning. Life is about making action, and we have all energies around us in physical forms that we're expressing to now. And it's to walk past people in the street and have your head down, be proud of who you are, you know, make connections with beings, because we're all gods, we're all universes. Uni means one, and a verse is a frequency. We're all one frequency, and we're all
You and
individual
I verse.
frequencies in the whole.
You and I verse. You get, we've got chapters of our lives. You verses, verse, book, chapter,
Yeah,
verse, chapter and verse. Characters. Well, you're a right character. You are. Characters, letters, styles, chapters,
yeah.
sentence, hearing, star, or testamentary. So in the beginning there was the word. Stop it now. Word,
The word
vibration,
of
light.
God.
Yeah, it's epic where we're going. It's incredible, and it's nice to have another like-minded one that can give back as well as take, as well, and bounce these things around of how you see and how what I can do is I can give testamentary evidence and I can give so much proof of these numbers like 111 and the number three have hounded me now
Well,
for 9 months, and I've had many each time I've thought this is what I mean. I've gone on again and gone on again, and now it's yeah. I forgot the last link that I had to 1113. I did talk to you about it on the phone, Josh, but yeah,
yeah.
1111. Certain things that just they won't go away. They just keep playing with my mind.
Translated into the letters, mate, you've got the K and you've got the 13 as well, which are very important letters there. You've got K, which is your twin pillars, the two ones. It seems like your higher self is telling you that the twin pillars are being rebuilt as we speak, and keep on that. The 13 represents the middle, the mother. 13th letter in the alphabet, the golden arches. So you're well on your way, mate. You need to just keep on your path and realize your astral self is trying to create this pattern of matrix through numbers for you to just keep going, mate, and keep peeling back this amazing game that we're in.
I've got
In the game,
I've got
the G.
admiration and respect for that reply. Thank you. I wouldn't get that many places. Thank you. I'm grateful. I've got it. What happened was I was seeing 113 and three ones in my subscriber count, video count, time of the day, time of the night. I went to Hungary with Anne Marie for a month. We went to a forest. There was a lamppost there, and it had a yellow earth symbol on it, and it had 3 lines and then a one to down by it, like the big one, and then the 3 little ones above it in a yellow thing to say symbol, sign, sin, symbol. We didn't touch on symbols, that's another video, but 3 1s and a 3 there. I was seeing it a lot of places. Then I found out that in gematria, Giaramita started looking at gematria, and going back to that, a little bit of Marty Leeds, I think it was, on YouTube, amongst others. If you search Marty Leeds, that's I think Super Leeds' dad. No, I'm joking, not the describer, but yeah. And 1A was 1, M was 1, and November was 1. So you got Alpha, Mikey, November, all as 1 on gematria. I'm like, yes, I know what it is now. I know what 3 1s and a 3 is. It means man, because 1 1 and 1, MAN, a 1 1 and 1, and together they are 3. So I've got my 3 1s and a 3. I've got you. You beat me 6 months, and I finally got there. And then for 3 weeks it was quiet. It all was good, blissful. No 1s, no 3s, no 11-11s, just quiet. And then I got behind a taxi one day, taxi 113. I was like, I actually looked up. I went, you what? What are you doing? I says, this is finished. This is done. I'm done with them 1s and 3s. And then somewhere else later on, I looked at the clock, somebody's house, like microwave next to me, 113. I went, now then, that's twice in one day. You think, all right, if you give it lip, it plays, but oh wow, it's dangerous. So anyway, going home, sat nav, how long? Something like, I don't know, an hour and 13. I'm like, you what? I says, this is it now. I says, what is it? I says, I don't know what it is. And I have arguments and I raise my voice in the car. And when people aren't looking, I have a little chat with it. And then I'm researching a 768-page handbook on law. Okay. And as I'm on page 1, page 2, page 3, and I find a reference to something that I've been looking for, that I forgot about, that I never found. So I went looking for it because I saw that. And when I went looking for that, I found the address amongst this details of the Law Society in Chancery Lane. And then there was a number attached to where the Law Society is of Chancery Lane in London, in Babylon, Don. And it was 113 Chancery Lane. And I'm like, yeah, I just looked up and went, there you go. This is it. I found it. Leave me alone. If it comes back now, I shall not be held accountable for the repercussion of the 113. But let me tell you, it's a fun old game. It is. It's a fun old game.
It's so funny. It's
That's
so
true. That's all true. I didn't make any of that up. Sorry, go on.
it's something that happened to us on our awakening, mate. The numbers don't lie, and they're there for us to see. And it is so. Don't dismiss what you're seeing. Otherwise, you might miss my double sine waves, the my two S's. You know, the mission is my SS ions, and that is the mission, mate. To join those ions with your higher self, and it sounds like it's going really great for you. Sounds like.
Yeah, it is going great. The attraction from these, what's happening with the scribers, you finding us, what Andy's doing, what G-Star's putting together on the .com, what America's got potentially to offer with the intertwining of our, because what we can proclaim is those that are bonded with the stocks and the bonds and the certificate and the capital name and the let me think now with the bank, the Federal Reserve, and the also the just Americans governance in its whole entirety, and the bank of the securitization, because you've got Washington and you've got District of Columbia, the tri-state Columbia TriStar. So America, we've got some news for you. When I say news, I mean it's old, but it's going to be news for you when we go into the obelisk, Washington, District, Columbia, colonization, law. What have we got? Constitution, sticky area. But consequences, the sequences after that con. Yes, mother. I know, indeed. Ooh, you know, you didn't. Yes, we did. They did. We didn't. And then equity is what, you know, is what will save, because it comes in personam, and in personam is man. And all these years, man's been trying to look for, I'm the living man, I'm not the name, and going places and getting laughed at and getting nowhere fast. But I'm the living man, and that's what everybody believes and everybody sees and everybody knows. But when you go out there as the living man, you get nowhere fast, apart from, in maybe in danger, in trouble, and people trying to, put you in places because they think you're la. So when you go out there and you represent correctly and you define it as we are doing now, with these forward thinking minds, it's truly an exciting time to be in it. Let me tell you.
The equity is the equi, which comes from equal, or it's time to be equal. I wanted to drop a word in, mate, because you know what the word surprise.
Surprise, yeah, go on.
The bit we will ever have is when the serpent rises. Serp rise. And this is the two sine wave, 33 vertebrae, the Christos oil, and joining our sine waves. This is the most important thing to rise the serpent. The surprise is the biggest serpent rise we're going to get. And it's not going to be easy. It's difficult, and difficult is the DeFi cult, the cult to DeFi from the physical again. And all we need to do is move our left brain to the occult, which is the O cult, and O is the so the womb of the mother's cult. So everything is pointing to the Mother Earth. So we need to get connected, guys.
Oh wow, that's the Greek Christ, Christos, oil, milk means oil, milk, larder. I remember larder, also lauder, coming into it from some of Santos's speeches, but I did touch upon this. I said, now then, I said, Santos, I've been hearing that you've been talking. I love it when he says Jesus. When you hear Bonacci, I don't mind, it's true. When you hear him say Jesus, it's so brilliant. It really makes me smile every time. He must have said the word Jesus, and others have said this to me and pointed it out to me. And until they pointed it out to me, it never stuck out to me. But now it stands out to me and it makes me smile every time. And if you think about it, in 3 hours, he might have said the word Jesus approximately 100 times. So I had 100 mini smiles at several points through that hangout. And I said to the man, listen a minute now. I've heard you talk about Jesus as an event. We've talked about the crusade fiction. Thank you, Josh. Josh, I love you, because I did say on the pre-chat I wanted to get to the point of this Christos Christ event, and the way that we look at it, because those of us that are of the Catholic Christian religion, of the doctrine of those churches, when you have it put to you, and even when you're not, and you have been or you're not and you've never been, it's still an interesting concept when you say Christ was an event and he travels up the 33 vertebrae and there's a cross at the top here where Mary and Joseph meet him at the top of the ascension point. This comes into the anointed ones, and I won't go into the what words come with anointed and a similar connected to that through the church fabrication. But then Mary, Joseph, Jesus at the crucifixion cross point here, and then going 3 days before traveling to the pineal gland before the rebirth and the Christ-like consciousness of the anointed one coming back to man. When I said, can you just explain that a bit more? And Matt, he did. See the channel, the videos there, and he explained it again, and I was like, wow. That's some different angle on pineal gland. Santa Claustrum is in there. And he said that. I went, you what? Say that again. Who? The Santa Claustrum is a gland in the brain, is it? Okay, then now I see the deception. Poor Yanka. I told her about the Santa Claustrum just before Crimbo.
And where does he live, mate? In the north, doesn't he? In your head, right at the top.
That's unbelievable, fam. When I heard that, I went, I've heard this big bit a little bit, but I didn't believe it. You tell me, St. Nick and where St. Nick come from, and the rebirth and the presents, gifts in the presents again, looping back to, it was, Josh, sometimes.
That's why QRS is together in the alphabet. You see the word QRS. You have Q is a very important word, right? And if I said to you cube, okay, and then you break cube down in B, QB, you be this cube, okay, and then you break down the word square and you see S dash Q dash U dash R. So you're actually a square. You've been squared. Okay, the sine wave of the Q U R. The Queen has the Q U E in it. You see,
QE2, QUE.
So you have a quest, and you Q, and this sine wave of the physical needs to be cued by the Christ. So the quest that I'm on is quest I on is cueing our of our physical, which is the Christ oil. So the QRST in the alphabet represents the Q, which could be your cue to go. It means it's your time, and your sine wave with the Christ, mate, which is the serpent rising within the body, that up to 33 vertebrae, mate. And it's all about in the DNA code, and we've got very, 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 very many inactive DNA points are lacking of amino acid coding that we need to get through righteous behavior. And it's very yeah, very important that we do.
I've been a bit pangy tonight. The signal's not been the strongest. I have got the gist of what you're saying, but I'm not complaining.
Oh,
your feedback. It's, yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
Sorry, mate. Was it? I might have been pushing my finger over the speaker. Is that
No,
bad?
you're clear. You're loud and clear. It's just the signal dropping in and out. But the cross,
Okay.
the cross cube. All right, and I see your cube, and I raise you the cross with the cross, and then when you can open it out, get a cube, open up a cube has 6 sides. We can all do 4 along and 2 out. Well, 4 along would go 4 down and 2 out. So after the first cube, cube number 2 is a line of 3, and then there's 2 more cubes.
That's
2
right.
more squares, which would roll up into the cube of Mecca, Transformers, the cube. Don't talk to me about
and Dave, also the cube called, mate.
Yeah, I know about
the box. Yeah, a box.
Wait,
yeah.
Well, cube what? Sorry, you broke up.
Cube also called a box. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you break down you'll be an ox. And what is the ox?
Bullion, golden ox, gold ox, bull.
Yep. It's the holy bull, mate. The Bible, the ox. So you be an ox, mate. You're boxed, and what you need to do is circle.
You're gone.
Then able to create your own world and your own reality. So the whole purpose of being here is to free yourself from this box that you've been put in, the cube or the square, the SQUR or the QB, through the Christos oil or the Christ or the serpent rising in the body. Yeah, there's it. Language will set us free, you know. It will set us free. It's the gauge of the monsters, man. And unfortunately, we were born into a system that created monsters out of us, and it's our duty as a man or a womb man to free ourselves from this bondage and continue to create beautiful, beautiful modern day Eden wherever we choose to be. And that is the journey for us, Dave, isn't it? You know, that's the journey.
Yeah. I've got more to bring up. Yeah, that's it. Encapsulated. It looks like the House of the Catholics thinks that there's no more Protestants going off anymore, and it looks like there may have been some kind of recent proclamation where everybody on the planes and realm, much like Unum Sanctum and Convocation and Eterni Regis and the 3 crowns with the 3 trusts that we brought you, that the House of the Vatican Catholics, Romans have brought out. Yeah, they've now further proclaimed that there is no Protestants anymore, and that we're all under this doctrine. So the language will set you free, especially when you are in amongst others that have cast a net over the realm, a net of religion, a net of money, a net of confusion, a net of language, a net of, there are many nets to cut through before you finally do get out that way. So the language will and indeed does set you free. I struggle being dyslexic with many of these words, the pronunciations, and we had Shadow Dynamics come on and read some of the books and verbiage. I'm going to, before when you get off, I'm going to read a little bit of a book that I've got given for Christmas, because I'm fascinated with the Sumer and the origins of the hieroglyphs, the cuneiform, the Sanskrit, the Sumer, the subsequent, forwarding on of the, as you've put, the language and the definitions of the alphabet and the way it's used and the words. And yeah, it's massive. It really is. It's something that really has I've sunk my teeth into there as well. It's because I struggled with it when I was a young academic being indoctrinated. I've made sure as an adult that when I've got into this and I've had a look, because it was so intriguing, I thought, I need to dig more. And it's we've just stopped digging.
Yeah, I'll put a couple of words out there that might help people decipher a few things as well, because these are quite interesting. The word mathematics. If you put MA dash the dash
Yeah,
matics, your sticks is the movement of the mother. Matics is movement, ma and the. It's the movement of the mother, which is mathematics. You'll also have the word. What was I going to say? In divine duality, and we are in divine duality right now, and we are all individuals in the divine duality on our own
yeah,
experience here.
that's a
But
good
it was
one.
about it was mathematics and something else I wanted to say. Measurement is another good one. So if you look at the word measurement, you'll see that it says me dash a dash sure dash meant. So
Yeah.
you measure something to make sure you have a sure mind. So the word measurement is me a sure mind.
Oh,
And this,
yes. That's beautiful.
yes,
Thank you.
so this is how language is there for us to see. They're the simplest words that I first started to break down a few years ago on this journey, and it just blew me away just seeing through the language and how it was just presented to us. And I've never, like I said, I've never really looked into anybody on etymology, bar Santos, about 10 years ago when I was younger. And then this has just come within. I've not seen Chiron. I'm not seeing anybody like that. And I tend to not look into others right now because I'm on my own journey finding out something within, and it can confuse me. But my
Mm.
mind's together right now, and it's
I'm
awesome. But it's
I'm on an accelerated learning and I'm trying to bring others up to my speed. And when you go on YouTube and say, hello, any of the indigos, light workers, rainbow or crystal, or just general, questioners of self-given authoritarians, then come this way. And we have done. And then they give me
Dave,
stuff.
I'm gonna go, mate. All right, I love you. I got.
All right, brother. We'll catch up soon. Peace and love. Maybe his battery's gone. Circle the square. I wanted to tell him circle the square. I saw that comment. Xbox 360. His battery's gone. Yeah, we all surmise his battery's gone, fam. How did you like that? 67 in the house. Thank you very much for the comments. Thank you to the Blue Mans for your duties, as always. Super Leeds, he ain't my dad. I'm sorry, it was a joke just because it was Marty Leeds. That was all. I retract it. It wasn't true. I was trying to make a little joke. 666 in Latin, yes. Numbers association, thank you. Right, the book. I'm going to read from page 35, then we'll end the cast. Let me get page here. The chapter is chapter 3, The Desert Blooms, Language Innovation in the Middle East. And then it's got some nice, get it under the light there, some nice Sumerian, and the text itself. And it's got a little poem. That's Josh just signing out, auto eject. And it's got the language used, how it was written. So let me just give you a bit of this then. The desert blooms, and I'm reading a little bit of a poem, I think, from back then. This is a long time. I'm going to read you an excerpt. So the book is called Empires of the Word, A Language History of the World, and it's by Nicola Ostler. A compelling read, one of the most interesting books I have read in a long while. You will never think of language in the same way again. Guardian. So, Empires of the World, and this is under chapter 3 called The Desert Blooms, Language Innovation in the Middle East. Now, let me just put a pin in it. Christianity, Jesus, Israel, Palestine, Bethlehem. Yeah, not England, not America, not Western at all. It comes from the Middle East. All those out in Europe, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants that are proclaiming Christianity and Westernism and so forth. Well, haha, really, comes from the Middle East, just like the Arabic faith and the Muslims that celebrate and go with Allah and Muhammad, peace be upon him, interests me because, it's just, wow, half of the Anglo-Saxons that are on this landmass may find out that they are connected to French and Egyptian, for that matter, with Escotcha revelations we've brought out. So further to that, the empires of the world. Empire, what's an empire? That's interesting. So this is the first of the poems or citations under this innovation in the Middle East language section. Who can know the will of the gods in heaven? Who can understand the plans of the underworld gods? Where have humans learned the way of a god? He who was alive yesterday is dead today. One moment he is worried, the next he is boisterous. One moment he is singing a joyful song, a moment later he wails like a funeral mourner. Their condition changes like opening and closing the legs. When starving, they become like corpses. When full, they oppose their God. In good times, they speak of scaling heaven. When they are troubled, they talk of descent to hell. I am perplexed at these things. I cannot tell what they mean. From Lud, Lud, Bel, Nemeki, I will praise the Lord of wisdom, Akkadian, 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 yeah, Arcad. The names of civilizations that arose in the ancient Near East now ring with the note of remote antiquity. 3 dozen and more are known that flourished in the 3 millennia from the start of records, 3300 BC until the invasion of Alexander in 330 BC. So there's my threes again. Aye, aye, aye. 3300 BC until the invasion of Alexander in 330 BC. Among them, such powers as Babylon, Assyria, Bonai, yeah, so Phoenicia, Lydia, and Persia. These are all my favorite continents of back then, by the way, where I researched and continue to do so. They bring to mind visions of Oriental absolutism, breathtaking, ruthless, and gaudy magnificence. Despite their many pretensions, their cultural fertility, and sometimes truly universal power, they have left no heirs.
Sorry, Dave, I'm back, mate.
Hey up, what's happened now? I thought, was it your battery or something, or
I,
was it?
my, I had a phone streaming a hotspot, mate, and then the other phone just popped off and died, mate. So I got back on charge. Sorry about that.
Oh, bless! I thought you were all done, like, so I just said goodbye, and
I
yeah,
was
we had a just yeah. All right then. So have you got some time to come back?
I was just coming back to just say hi, and then yeah, man, I'll close it down in a sec. Were you starting to read the book you were saying about? Or?
Yeah. I'm just closing off with the section, chapter 3, language innovation in the Middle East. Yeah, about the Babylonia, Arcadia, Syria, Persia. Yeah, I'll just read in a few pages, and I was going to shut down the
Awesome.
hangout.
Cool.
Um, but where you was talking about mathematics and stuff, somebody put circle and square Xbox 360 to what you was just before you went offline. You was talking about yeah, something quite prolific there with the environment, universe, shapes, magnetism, mathematics, and he was on about the square, just a cube. Yeah, remember? Yeah. Next man. Hello. Is this thing on? Why? Oh no, you just don't know where you are with technology these days. Josh, come in, Josh. Nanu. X-Man, come in. Oh, patience. Come on, let's manifest a connection, everyone. Josh, connect. Abra cadabra, says me. It's a good job I've got my book here then to carry on with. They bring to mind such visions, sometimes truly, despite their many pretensions, their cultural fertility, and sometimes truly universal power, they have left no heirs. Something of this was foreseen by at least one of their own writers. Servant, listen to me. Yes, master. Yes, I will benefit my country. So do, master, do. The man who benefits his country has his good deeds set down in the record of Marduk. No, servant, I will not benefit my country. Do not do it, master. Do not. Go up to the ancient ruin heaps and walk around. Look at the skulls of the lowly and the great, which belongs to one who did evil and which to one who did good, from the dialogue of pessimism, Arcadian. But perhaps it is a little harsh to weigh up the persistence of political achievements after a gap of 2 to 4 millennia. Some of their works really did defy the ages. It was here that writing was invented and developed from a medium for taking notes into the basis for a full explicit record of human life and thought. So that interests me if this is where writing was allegedly put down, because I've looked at a man called Confucius and China and the Asian history and so forth. And these writings here, the desert is the Middle East now, which is connected to, but Sumer, yes, times and years and lineages, continents, where they are, what realm we're on, flat, round. Well, this is where it plays a key part. So anyway, a record of human life and thought as a lucky complement to this, a plentiful, non-biodegradable material had been adopted to write on, patties of river clay, rolled out, inscribed, and sometimes baked hard. As a result, we can trace not just the broad outlines of events, but the personalities and even a diplomatic dialogue of royal families, the myths and rituals of the peoples, gods, as well as their images, the laws under which they lived, and the love songs they sang, and above all, their multifarious languages. This last gift is a particular godsend of the last 200 years of archaeology, since among the peoples of the area, only the Hebrews on the western margin and the Iranians on the east have texts and cultural traditions that have survived to modern times. Yet their scriptures, the Old Testament and the Zend Avesta, supplemented by the hearsay of bystanders such as the Greek Herodotus and all that was available to 18th century scholars, gave a very partial view, and that only of the latter stages of what was done, with no sense at all of what was said by those who did it. Without 19th century Europe's discovery that it could do historical research through the digging and the novel skills of decipherment and the language reconstruction, then heroically applied to what was unearthed. We should know nothing at all of the founding cities in Sumer and Elam and the steady expanding might of the Urartu from the Caucasus and the preeminence of Hittites in what now is Turkey. What? Each of these groups spoke language quite unrelated to that of its neighbours, hinting at radically different origins and a wealth of unknown stories in their even more remote past. The fact, well, Babylon confused them with the tongues comes to mind, but their languages and distinctness. Interesting. This fact of different languages amazingly shines through the single script that so many of them use, based on patterns of wedge-shaped marks, even though it was originally designed to represent the meaning of words rather than how they sounded. Then we've got some of the Sumerian alphabet language put down, so I can read out what the inscriptions say. The messenger's mouth was heavy. He could not repeat the message. The Lord Kulab patted some clay. He put words on it as he put words on it as on a tablet. Before that time, words put on clay had never existed, and that was from Emeka and the Lord Arata, um, Arcadian, remedies from the top of the head to the toenails, non-canonical selections, clever teachings, whatever pertains to the medical mystery of Ninurta and Gula, I wrote on tablets, checked and collated and deposited within my palace for perusal and reading. Colophon on medical text library of Ashurbanipal ruled Assyria 668 to 67 BC. And there's more examples of that, but this is a region, this Middle East and Sumer, Persia, and places that are mentioned of so many firsts for linguistic innovation. Unlike Egypt, China, or India, its cities and states had always been consciously multilingual, whether for communication with neighbors who spoke different languages or because their histories had made them adopt a foreign language to dignify court, religion, or commerce. This is the area where we find the first conscious use of classical language, but also by contrast, the first generalized use of totally foreign languages for convenience, just like legalese. I'm not saying that, but hear me out. In communication as a lingua franca, an early apparent triumph of diplomatic pragmatism over national sentiment. What exactly? This area contains the site of the earliest known rising in the lower reaches of the Euphrates Valley, but in its western zone, the coastal cities of Syria, it was also the first to make radical simplification from hieroglyphs that denoted words and syllables to a short alphabet. That alphabet wasn't always called alphabet, alphets or something, yeah, that that represented simple sounds. The political effects of this were massive. For the first time, literacy could spread beyond the aristocratic scribal class. The people who had leisured in childhood to learn the old complicated system, positions of power and influence throughout the Assyrian Empire were then open to a wider social range. The area also contains the first known museums and libraries, often centralized multilingual institutions of the state, but by an irony of fate which has favored the memory of this clay-based society, its documents were best preserved by firing most simply through conflagrations in the buildings in which they were held. A circumstance was a circumstance that was not uncommon in its tempestuous history. These catastrophes were miracles of conservation, archiving whole libraries in situ, on occasion with even their classification intact, and have materially helped the rapid reading of such unknown history in our era. I won't go on about the burning of the Library of Alexandria, but not all of the states of the era or area stayed focused within the Fertile Crescent, the zone of well-watered land that runs from the valleys of the Tigris and the Euphrates up round the southern slopes of the Taurus Mountains and down the Mediterranean coast of Syria and Palestine. From the western coast of Palestine, the cities of Phoenicia sent trading expeditions far and wide, mostly within the Mediterranean, just like we've covered before, but this is a bit more in-depth and concise. One result was the founding of Carthage, and here, hence the world's first colonial empire. Santos has mentioned this, and we've covered this before. What we've found, this is just further supplementary evidence to our already prestigious findings, and hence the world's first colonial empire, persecutor of the kind of institution that has made English a global language, perse- per, precursor, not persecutor, precursor of the kind of institution that has made English a global language. Others were the first circumnavigations routes to Britain for tin and the Baltic Sea for amber. On the way, the Phoenicians spread the practice of alphabet writings throughout their network of trading emporia, providing perhaps the most important single key to unlock the progress of their great rivals, the Greeks and the Romans, who would ultimately supplant them as masters of the Mediterranean. The best word for this Middle Eastern society is cosmopolitan, citizens of the world, but its world was never a sheltered one. Good communications and absence of natural borders made it difficult for any culture to hold power stably. We find a succession of kingdoms coming from different direction, and it turns out many different language families to seize control of the central area that is modern Iraq today. After 3,000 documented years of shifting power balances within the region, control was yielded to groups based far away, the Greeks and later the Romans from the west, then the Parthians from the north. eastern corner of Iran in the east. But these foreign powers were no more effective in achieving stability. Arabs, Mongols, and Turks have succeeded one another throughout the centuries. It has been a good old, fair old battle on this land, to be fair, of the modern era, with the 20th century from start to finish being a particularly bitterly contested period in its history. Three sisters who span the history of 4,500 years. The only stability this society has enjoyed and has been in the substance of its ruling language, Akkadian, the language spoken by Sargon I, the first Assyrian king in 2300 BC, is a close relative of the Arabic spoken by his successor in this same land, Saddam Hussein, and in AD 2000, another close relative, the Middle East's old lingua franca, aromatic bridges the gap between the decline of Akkadian around 600 BC and the onset of the Arabic with the Muslims around AD 600. They are all sister languages within the very close Semitic family. They have many Semitic family, that's right. They have many distinctive points in common. They have consonants pronounced with constriction of the throat, said to be glottalized or pharyngalized. Feminine words end in at. There are only two or three cases in noun inflection. There is an ending in I to make adjectives and prefix M to make nouns. There is distinction in verbal forms between dynamic and stative tenses. Dynamic have prefixes to mark the persons, but stative have suffixes above all. Semitic languages are highly inflected using a distinctive system in which consonantal skeleton of the word has meaning independent of the varying patterns of vowels and consonants that may come between them. To give simplest of examples, in Akkadian, the root KSD, catch, can be discerned in kasadu, to attain catch. Ik kasadu, they were catching. Kisidru, booty, and kusudu, captured, just as SPR, order, is reflected in saparu, to send rule, right, and sip iritu, mission letter, and SLM. Oh, I'm not going on with that, but so you get the idea. Besides covering the major languages of the ancient and modern Middle East, the Semitic group also take in some of the most populous languages of Ethiopia and Eritrea, including Amharic, Tigrinya, and the ancient language of the Ethiopian Church, G-EZ, Gs. These Semitic languages, in fact, share most of these properties with a larger group called Afro-Asiatic or Hamito-Semitic, which includes Egyptian, Berber, and some language families spoken farther south, Cushitic, Omotic, and Chadic, including the now vast Hausa language. They are all spoken in northern parts of Africa, and the usual assumption is that it is the primeval home of the Semitic language too. There is in fact some indirect evidence of a mass movement of tribes at prehistoric date rather than simple diffusion of the languages among neighbors in certain ways. Akkadian and Ethiopic are more alike than their intervening Semitic cousins, and the rampant desertification of the Sahara 3,500 BC would have provided a fair motive to be moving out of North Africa. At any rate, by the time we first encounter them in their own historical record, about 2,400 BC, there are Semitic language speakers, and by the nature of the evidence, the writers that we've found, in centres dotting along the northern edge of the Fertile Crescent, pretty much on the borders of modern Syria, from Ebla, 60 meters south of Aleppo, through Nabada, yeah, you hear these names are all in the news of late as well, aren't they? Yes, Tel Beidar, 20 kilometers north of of Al Hasake, and down to Mari on the Euphrates near Abu Kamal, and Kish, 15 kilometers due east of Babylon. The names of kings who ruled at Kish suggest that it was a mixed settlement of Semites with Sumerians. All of these communities were steadfastly using Sumerian logograms as the staple of their cuneiform script, but the language is discernibly Semitic, written with phonetic symbols to show the verb and noun endings and the function words in a different word order from the Sumerian. There are also bilingual school texts which specify how at least some of the Sumerian logograms should be pronounced. The language of Ebla does not seem to be written very consistently, and it is and in general difficult to differentiate from early forms of Akkadian occurring in Kish and down to Sumer after the conquest of Sargon the first in the 24th century. These conquests are the first historical evidence of political unification, but mostly they unified people who were already speaking closely related Semitic dialects. The language history of the Middle East opens, therefore, with its leading prayer already on stage, Semitic, written in Sumerian cuneiform. We do not know how the Semitic speakers had got there, how their remarkably unified dialects or languages had spread out to cover the whole Fertile Crescent. On the map of the desert, Syria and Arabia look like good central points from where to start an expansion, but they seem inconceivable as areas in which to bring up the necessary surplus populations as one result of Semitic language persistence. It can be shown that the counting to 10 has hardly changed here in over 4,000 years or 200 generations. Yeah, there you go. So I found this book. I'm not going to read anymore. Tired, gone on for a while, and yeah, it's a school night. So thank you all. Thank you, Josh. Excellent, brilliant. We have much work to be doing, and Boyd knows what he's on with. Boy better know. He does. Man's knows. So chat room. Who we got now? Let's scroll down. 44. Brilliant. Thank you all. John, Jerry, Tina, Kevin. Let me see who else. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Comment. Perish it, parish, and when you pray, you become the prey, and the only profit there is a profit making from. I like that. Eltel baby. Yes, Michelle X. I see that. Comment Sid. Came on 8:30. The square has no exit. Jamie, chef's in the house. Super leads. Easy now. Die. Shivite. Big up Santos the Great. Indeed, he is a living legend. The man is a living legend. He's been speaking for over 30 years. Done an incredible amount of work. I said that in Anne-Marie's ear then, because she loves him too. I know she does. Roger Doctors, thank you very much. Yes, they've come out with some excellent crusade fiction. Good night, little one. Crusade fiction is cross of fiction. Cross, say of fiction, fiction. Yes, Jesus was an event, you know, amongst other things. Could have been an actual story there. Let's face it, there are stories on TV, Hollywood stories that have stories within the stories. You know about the subtext now. So, you know, the Da Vinci codes and so forth and so on. Thank you all. We could go on for hours, but yeah, we'll crack on. Thank you very much. Peace and love. Blue Man, we love you. Thanks for policing the realm, keeping it calm, and everyone secure and safe. Yes, Josh is a legend. Mr. Menza, didn't see you there. Easy now. Mr. IQ. Yeah, we're finished. It's been an incredible chat. Another heavyweight hangout, I'm pleased to say. Yes, he's got an excellent mind, and I can really bounce well with Josh. He can with I, and I'm trying to learn to be very good and, you know, presenting without butting in. But it is an informal chat, and I was kind of holding back quite a lot there, so more to do. We'll get a whiteboard and see if we can get some ideas down and shapes and triangles, circles and squares, everything like that. And we'll move forward with some illustrative presentations. Yeah, we've got lots going off in all areas. So again, thank you. Emails, I haven't read one. I've been here all weekend, see what it's like. So I will get to them. It's not ignorance, you know, and I'm not giving you excuses. I just haven't got time. We need help with everything with the .com, the blogging section, and so forth. Whatever you can do, let me know. I will get to that email, and we will make action on it. Just I need 6 of me, and there isn't. So America, thank you. We love you. Family across the pond, great to make connections. Thank you for the interaction and the comments and what you're doing and receiving, brother Andy Sovereign Wordsmith, as he is now known. Okay, Sovereign Wordsmith is his new calling, and yeah, we're very grateful for your input, help, assistance. If we've got a Sun and Moon video somewhere where Flat Earth Dude's mate came on, Ramon or somebody, and he professed to have been into the courts over the states for an infraction with marijuana, and actually sorted it all out. And yeah, this was before it was legalized, and it got issues with it. So we're making progresses on both continents, in both areas, with the same technologies. Incredible time for the renaissance of which we're in. So to all, Andy, G Star, Kevin, you, scribers, myself, and these numbers here that seem to be moving us all, or moving me in the directions of. We give thanks, peace, and love. We say prayers for those that are less fortunate. We help the animals. We look after the environment. We walk around consciously every minute of the day. We are using and choosing every word. We are conscious of our words on others and how we say them, the tone of our voice. Your body, you know, is a temple. You are under the dome. And yeah, forgive me for not, I know not what I do. We have no liability, just for entertainment and for your, you know, deliberation, feedback, and yeah, thank you. Incredible for what, for one word, you know, and I'm honoured. Love you all very much, and yeah, you're all great souls. Give yourselves pats on the back. Um, and yeah, much like shadow dynamics, you have all got a place and a part to play. Nonna is looking like secretarial skill sets, transferable skills there. Shadow's looking like the archiving man of, you know, Rain Man, so to speak. Shadow, recite me this, riddle me this. So yeah, thank you all and each and every one of you. And we will get to it over the next few months. We're only in February. We'll give us a break. We're still moving fast. We haven't took the foot off the gas. The SS Sovereign and subsequent other vessels are out there on the seas of commerce. We are now policing the realm alongside the other commercial entities, and we are giving them the blue light. And yeah, just bear with us. We're doing the best we can with what we've got. It's very hard, and time is compressed. Servitude, albeit voluntary, is not good. And we see a way out. We just can't get to it. That in itself is torture and torment enough, you know, having to do this day in, day out. So until we get some fancy ass moves and steering wheel, ambassadors, committee, council, assembly, treaties, declarations, land, acquisitions, assets, bear with, okay? We're moving, and yeah, the place is here, the .com, and in personam. In personam. All right, so we give peace and love. Thank you. All right, give us a thumbs up, share the vid. Please get this information out. We've got lots more to come. And if you can offer anything, David at splspro.com. If you have emailed, be patient. I'll get to you. And if you've got something to offer or anything you'd like to discuss, put forward, join later. Again, let us know. Get on the .com. Eye of Creator and his channel. You've got mine here. You're linked up with SPL's Pro on the other side for the .com releases. So that's it now. That's it. We've put the ball in your hands. All right. The ball, sorry to end on a bad note, but the ball is in your hands, scribers. All right. So thank you for scribing. Keep on scribing. Stay sovereign. And ciao for now.